It's Friday, everyone, and you're watching the morning show after show where we connect the dots the morning after.
And today we're going to be taking a deep dive into this week's episode, number 6, titled A Private Person.
Don't worry, we won't be spoiling future episodes, only this episode, so make sure you've watched.
My name is Kira Lynn, and I'm an entertainment journalist and a member of the Hollywood Critics Association, and I'm joined by Morgan Rojas and Kevin Taft. You guys, before we jump into it, I would love to hear how long you guys have been in the HCA and, you know, what kind of movies or television shows that you both enjoy. How about you, Morgan?
Oh gosh, I think I'm an OG. I guess it's been 4 years.
Wow.
I know, crazy, time flies.
And so, you know, when you're doing your thing, like,
Yeah.
what do you enjoy most? Like, is there a certain genre, movies, television?
Right, well, aside from hanging out with my best friends.
Your check is in the mail.
Thank you. No, I really like really heady dramas. I love things that make me think well after the episode's over. I'll talk about it for years even.
Oh, good.
Yeah. A lot of like heady, mentally stimulating stuff is my jam.
What was your favorite last movie that you saw?
Oh goodness, my favorite last movie that I saw was Spencer.
Oh, you were
Kristen
one of the
Stewart.
lucky ones that saw
Right,
that.
I haven't seen that yet.
Nice. Ooh, a little jealousy going on.
Sorry.
True.
How about you, Kev? How long have you been in the HCA?
I'm almost as old as Morgan, but 3 years.
Oh, wow. And movies, TV, genre?
I do tend to, I like everything, honestly, but I do gravitate towards horror. And I do a horror podcast
Oh.
with the HCA as
And
well.
what is that called? Why don't you
It's
put
called
it down?
Horrifically Horrified. And it airs on Wednesdays. But yeah, I like horror. I like heady drama too. And I do like grounded sci-fi, like sci-fi that's it's almost realistic sci-fi that deals with a lot of kind of rich topics. That's
Like Black Mirror, stuff like that.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Black Mirror is
yeah.
great.
I love Black Mirror.
like movies like Annihilation and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was a good one.
Right?
I'm the newest, and you know, I love movies and televisions, long walks on the beach. No, you know, I mean, my favorite movie that I saw last was Shang-Chi. I mean, I thought was
so
just a
good.
great film, and I hate to say that I'm easy to please. I think I'm probably the easiest to please amongst the three of us, but you know, there has to be one of us, so.
Yes, this is the part of the show where we take your comments and read what you guys loved or didn't love about the previous week's episodes of The Morning Show and here on The Morning Show After Show. So I have a couple that I would love to share with you.
All right.
Comment number 1 says, "Great after show, loved it!" Exclamation point.
Oh yeah.
A random prediction, Ty is the young male, the psychic that warned Alex in episode 1. So, interesting. I believe he is super relevant.
Okay.
I don't even remember. What did the psychic say?
She said that you have a young man in your life, and then Alex was like, "No, I don't."
Interesting.
I mean, that would be,
Would make sense.
He-
'Cause
he-
he kind of just popped up, right?
and he's got great style, so I mean, why not?
Interesting.
Yeah. Thank you for this comment. That was something to think about. Comment number 2 says, "They are really making it hard to like Bradley this season."
I can see that.
A lot of people have been saying that.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think they're all a little hard this season, you know what I mean? I mean, Alex, we've talked about Alex is just like not a nice person either. But I still like Bradley. I feel like she's just going through some stuff. I don't think she's mean or hateful or.
You know what I've been reading in a lot of the different groups that I belong to is they find her really annoying. It's a departure from what we've seen of Bradley in the first season, where she's like strong and focused, and you know, still, you know, 2 Fs, you know, Jackson, but you know, she seems a little bit more grounded, and definitely not in season 2. So I get that.
Right. Which is interesting because this is the season where she's finding herself, and if that's annoying people, it's an interesting thing to think about, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't
they
know.
should allow her to
you know?
grow.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it's not Alex who's just literally just freaking out and complaining about
True.
this damn book.
Right, my God, I
Like,
know.
shut up about the boy.
But, you know, you've brought up a good point about Bradley's and Laura's relationship, how it's supposed to be like a mentor sort of relationship. And now that it's a sexual sort of relationship, she's kind of taking on this mother figure to a child. And I think, you know, maybe that's sort of what everybody's kind of they're complaining about. It's vulnerable. I can respect that, but I mean, I understand.
Well, and here's also your reminder that while you're hanging out in the comment section, please don't forget to subscribe, like, turn on that notification bell, and leave us a comment. We would love to read it on the next episode of the Morning Show After Show.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Cap, are you going to read us some lovely fan mail?
Yes, I am. This fan question comes from Amy Weiss. Amy says, Stella seems to be taking a lot of heat from everyone at the station. Do you think she will ever take charge, or is she doomed to fail?
Ooh.
Interesting. I think she wants to take charge.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I don't know if she will until Corey gets out of the way.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll push him, but like...
Ooh. Right?
Well, there was that interesting dialogue between Sybil and Stella, where Sybil was like, you know, I'm the cockroach. You know, you should. I understand the two of you are a package deal, but you should understand, or you should figure out where your loyalty lies. Insinuating that Corey may not be here,
right?
And she will be. You know, she's a cockroach. She'll be the last one left standing. So Stella should make her allegiance and make Sybil happy, as opposed to doing whatever it is that Corey says. And you could see it in her, you could see it. It was kind of clicking in her brain that she was definitely taking notes. And I wouldn't put it past her. Stella, even though, what?
I just did a prediction. Sybil's gonna get COVID.
Oh.
Corey's gonna take Sybil's job.
Oh.
And I don't know, can you do that? And then Stella would take Corey's job.
But it would be interesting if that happened.
Because she just said she's a cockroach, and what if she is?
What if she takes out? Or she gets taken out?
Yeah, squash.
What do you think, Morgan?
I mean, I like that prediction. I could see someone has to get COVID.
We're all taking it.
We're taking back.
No one's gotten COVID yet, and we're on episode 6 of 10. Like, someone has to get COVID soon.
Right.
It very well could be Sybil, and that would be a good point. Yeah, I mean, I kind of hope Stella gets in there and gets to kind of be the leader that she was promised she would be, being on the morning show. I just don't know if she's going to be able to do it with Corey above her. And he's still trying to prove himself, and he's, you know.
There's kind of a conflict between them, both trying to almost do the same thing, and it's not working.
Corey has a whole other agenda that he has not let Stella in on, and that's what's hindering her. You know, she was hired to do it one way. He hired her to sort of entrust her to, you know, elevate this show, and at every which step, he's just blocked her. So if she takes Sybil's advice, you know, she will figure out a way to oust Corey or sidestep Corey, or, you know, flip the switch and maybe, I don't know, take over Corey's position. Something.
Yeah, I wonder if he had hired her thinking that he could just kind of boss her around, and she's stepping up to the plate and proving that she's not going to allow that to happen, and he's now realizing, oh, shoot, this is going to be a much tougher fight than I thought it was going to be.
Don't forget, if you want to send us over a question or have a question for a possible upcoming guest, please email them to shows@HollywoodCriticsAssociation.com. Your question could be featured here or be answered by one of your favorite actors from the show. You never know.
Well, this is a part of the show where we're going to talk about a few of the key moments that have happened in this episode. Specifically, let's start off with Corey selling out Laura and Bradley to the vault. Oh my gosh, were you guys surprised?
I was. You weren't. You weren't.
I mean, no.
No.
Honestly, not.
No.
Only because I think Corey, at the end of the day, is a businessman, and he knows what he has to do to keep his business afloat and to get the streaming service going. And he, as much as it, I think, pained him to have to do this, because he does love Bradley on some level,
some level.
Well, he's, on many, multiple.
Maybe that's why he did it, because he wants to get rid of them, break them up.
Or that, yeah.
Which is a horrible thing to do,
Right.
clearly.
For me, I mean, I'm not surprised that Corey did it. I mean, he's a man scorned. You know, he's in love with Bradley. You know, he even asked her, you know, what would you do would you do what it takes in order to make this Hannah story go away?
Yeah.
So he went there. But for me, I just didn't feel that this scenario was realistic, because we're in 2020 at this point, and who cares if people, you know, are dating, you know, same sex? Like, I didn't think that it was as hard-hitting news. Like, if you compared like the Hannah story in comparison to the two, I just didn't feel that would be a situation that would wipe the other one out. I just didn't.
That's true.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess news anchors are celebrities, but also I pictured the Vault like a TMZ sort of. And if they were going to out or expose anyone and have it be this big, you know, massive ripple effect and thunderstorm or whatever, I feel like news anchors wouldn't be the first ones to make the biggest
really
splash.
cares.
Yeah, no one really cares. So it was a very big reaction for something that maybe realistically wouldn't have been as, you know, especially since Laura's already been out, and Bradley is, you know, the younger, kind of up and coming, more so established now, I guess, news anchor. But I don't know, it just kind of was a bit of a stretch.
But think about it, though. I mean, and what if it was Kelly Ripa or, you know, Ryan Seacrest or somebody that suddenly there was all this splash? It would be big news because those morning shows are so popular.
That's true.
Yeah.
Especially with middle America, where you have a lot of housewives watching or
Right.
stay-at-home husbands watching, whatever.
Well, I absolutely believe that it would make the news, but I don't think it would be story for story.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
let's talk about Chip serving up Laura as Alex's replacement. I was not surprised after that whole little thing that happened with them on the jet. And, you know, yeah, when she's like, "Get me some Advil," and he was like, "Get it yourself." And then, so it took me a second. I was like, is he really, so Chip really has had it up to here with Alex to serve up, you know, her nemesis as her replacement. I was like, ooh, one for Chip.
She took it right away.
What did you guys think about that?
I liked it. I thought Chip kind of showed that he had a backbone in this moment. And actually, it's funny thinking about it now, like Alex's back is hurting, but like Chip is like taking her spine and now using it as his own.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I thought that was great, and it makes sense for the story, and I think it's going to be even more interesting with Bradley and Laura, and if and when Alex comes back, how that's going to play out. Because Alex, when we left Alex, she was still fresh off of that interview with Laura, still not her biggest fan. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Alex kind of reacts to all of this.
Yeah, I did like when Laura was walking on to set, and she's like, it's like Carrie being asked to speak at her high school.
Yeah, right.
So
that was good.
Funny.
You know what? Speaking of that, I really enjoyed how Laura came onto set, and it was not a very long scene, but it really showed her humanity. Yeah. And just the way that, you know, that one guy was kind of egging her on, like, oh, you know, you're here with the little people. And she's like, that's not how I see this.
Right.
And I'm really liking Laura.
And she even kind of checked in with somebody, didn't she? Like, oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's interesting, because you don't think that she's that type of person.
Right.
Yeah. But she also very much controlled herself. And in a way, the room, like she walked in, she was very professional. There was a different air about that than when Crazy Alex comes in.
Oh, absolutely.
And is always in some sort of chaos.
Yeah.
Before she has to sit down and speak.
Calm, cool, collected Laura. I like it.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Bradley, Laura, being outed while they are on air.
Yeah.
I mean, that I would say is obviously the biggest moment of the show. I thought the way that they handled Bradley's kind of tailspin Like the way that the camera just kind of like weaved in and out, and you could kind of feel what the anxiety of what she was going through. I liked that perspective as opposed to it just being us on the outside watching her flip out. What did you guys think about that whole scenario?
I mean, it was interesting because when Bradley goes back to her dressing room and Laura comes after her, it was interesting. I kept on going back and forth between being a little irritated with Laura and not being interested. Like, I get what she's saying, but Bradley is in the midst of, and you said this earlier, it's traumatic what's happened. And it's sudden, and it's literally your whole world starts crashing in around you. And she is a person who's not even sure what she is, and now she has to explain it to people, and you're forcing her to do that. And it's like, also, who cares? Like, it's nobody's business. But again, you know, she talked about later on, she's like, she worried about her family and whatever. But it was the fact that Laura's she's so far advanced in her stage of being out and proud of who she is, that I feel like she forgets that Bradley's new to it, and real new to it. It's not like Bradley from when she was a kid was like, I think I'm a lesbian, and then finally came out. It's like suddenly she's like, oh,
right.
Well, I don't even know what I am, and I'm just enjoying myself, and now you're making me define that.
Right.
And that's got to just be, like, I wouldn't even know what to do. I mean, I know when I came out, it was in the 80s, it was a shocker, and I was for days.
Well, how were you able to, in that scenario, I mean, were you able to relate with what Bradley is going through, like the ultimate shock?
For sure, you feel that. I feel sick to my stomach. I'm going to pass out. I had somebody, like one of my friends in school, this girl knew, and we used to chit chat about it. So I had an outlet for it. Nobody else knew, parents, nobody. But then somebody caught on somehow. I don't even know how. It was something dumb. But when we worked together, and she caught me in the parking lot right before we graduated high school, and she said, so, I think I said I was bisexual. She said, so I hear you are, and I literally just was like, I didn't even know what to do. I hugged her because I didn't even know where to go with my body, and then I was like, what if she tells anybody? And thank God we're graduating. That's all I thought to myself.
So you totally had a Bradley moment. Oh.
Wow.
Yes,
And she didn't think it was a big deal, but I'm like, oh my God. Plus I was pissed off that somebody said something to her.
Right.
Because I had trusted that person. No offense, Sue.
Well,
We're still friends.
I found, because I really found that whole scene really interesting, and I, as a straight woman, was empathetic to that, but trying to put myself in that scenario, it was hard for me. So I would thank you for sharing that. I really enjoyed that insight because I for myself was trying to connect the dots for what a person who may be put in Bradley's situation. And I'm sure there are so many people out there that are going to watch this episode and have been in Bradley's shoes and have that sort of like empathetic or even experience that sort of trauma that she's going through. But yeah.
Totally. Well, and yeah, I mean, kind of the most telling part of it is when she gets back to the desk after having this news, she puts on the glasses and it's the Groucho Marx like mustache and nose, and it's just kind of like, okay, well, I'm gonna put on a charade or like wear a mask.
But also, I was
hide.
happy for her as the character that she got to still hide for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't really see her eyes that well, and she still got to like have a panic attack, but nobody could really see what was happening.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, just so kind of representative of if I'm going to be on the news in this moment right now, I need to not be myself.
Yeah.
Well, then let's talk about how her recovering or not recovering, addict brother, plopping on her doorstep out of nowhere, and then he's the one to deliver the news, and then that whole scenario that happens in the hotel room. I don't know how I would have handled that. I mean, luckily I've got a great relationship with my siblings, but like the complexity, like all the things that they just kept piling on in that conversation. I'm so happy she told him. I probably would have told him to leave that night. Yeah. But I'm so glad, like, she was like, you have to leave in the morning. Like, I mean, what did you think about that, Kev?
I was torn because, part of me feels like he's trying to do the right thing. He's just so misguided about everything. like even sending that article, it's like she's in the middle of a show. What are you doing? Like, why are you like blowing things up? And so he's clearly not paying attention to anything but himself. But I do feel like he goes to her because it's the one place he feels safe. And so for that, I felt bad for him a little bit. But yeah, like as they were arguing, I was like, oh, she needs to get away from that family, at least for some time.
What did you think about the whole hell scenario?
I was just initially curious as to why he showed up when he did. I don't know if there's any deeper meaning to that, or if it was just Bradley needed a plot point or something. But I'm kind of curious as to why is he really here? Is it because he is struggling with addiction and he finds his safe haven in Bradley's hotel room, or is there something else? But kind of agreed. Like, I have a great relationship with my brother, and I can't imagine a scenario where I wouldn't be able to trust him with my secrets or something. And so I can't understand it personally, but I can see like a scenario where that would happen. And it's just, I feel for Bradley in this moment because she kind of is floundering.
Yeah, and the two of them are getting dirt. Like that fighting was dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Got worse and worse.
It did, and then just to hear all the F-bombs, like Corey standing outside and hearing all the F-bombs, and just, him going, well, what's
And turning
going
around
on?
and like walking away.
What's going on? Can we talk about that whole Corey in the hallway with Bradley? I mean, we all know what he did, and he's like, I think I said it a couple episodes ago. I've been a Corey fan, and the apple fell from the tree hard. He's just not, obviously, he's just not my favorite person anymore. Not to say that Yanko was my favorite person.
Well, we'll see where he goes. He's got some splaining to do.
But for him to be standing there in the hallway, consoling Bradley and telling her, oh, the networker is going to stand by you.
Yeah, they'll sue, right?
Yeah. It's like now we know who we're dealing with. So.
But I did like, and we talked about this earlier, I liked when she said, the quote was, "My roots are pretty rotten. I see what I aspire to be. When I'm with him, my brother, I see who I am." And that was very, very telling and very vulnerable.
The rotten roots.
Yep.
But then, I think we finally get direction from Bradley about her declaring that she wants Laura, whereas I think she was really confused about that, especially with the conversations that she's had with her, on the phone in the dressing room, and I think maybe the having to deal with her family knowing that she's out, it's helped her realize that this is the person that she wants in her life. But I just found it awful that she was admitting it to Corey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to come and bite him in the butt. I mean, it's going to come back around. It has to.
Yeah. I think a lot of things are going to bite people in the butt.
Bite people in the butt.
At the end of the season, for sure.
I want to circle back, and can we talk about Mia and that whole scenario when she finds out the Vanity Fair article is about Mitch Kessler targeting black women, and whoa, how she takes it out on Chip. We've seen, a little bit of Mia, she's kind of turned into Chip in a way, but turned into Chip on Chip. You see what I'm saying? Like,
it's misguided, I think, her anger and just frustration. She's just needing to let it out at someone. And of course, it's going to be the person like whose job she inherited and just the mess that she also got with that job. And I mean, I feel for Chip. Of course I do. He didn't do anything wrong. But yeah, I mean, to read something like that with someone back in the day that you worked for and
maybe
liked and
maybe loved.
Yeah, and maybe loved.
And what that article is saying is basically like he didn't have any feelings for her. He was just targeting black women.
Yeah.
Which is a slap in the face to like, am I anything other than black?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I mean, I'm like, sorry, Morgan, he did do something wrong. He did lie to Mia about
fine.
Angel of Chip, I know. But I loved how he saw Mia and he was like, you were obviously hurting. I mean, that for me, I was like, oh, Chip, like I would want you on my team. I would. And then, he's off to try to find out where Alex is. And
I think I know where Alex is.
Oh.
I wrote it down while the show was on, and I said she has gone to find Mitch. So I expect that she will find Mitch.
Interesting prediction.
She wasn't in the entire episode. She has to be somewhere far.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
That was what I kept on thinking. Like, they have not shown her once.
Because her assistant said something about, like not rehab, but like vacation or resetting or something like
Something like
that.
that, yeah.
I kind of forget the exact word, but to me, what I thought of in that moment was like, oh, she's going back to the house
I
where
thought.
we, found her in the first episode.
Oh, yeah, no, that was too
Play with her dogs some more.
Too easy?
Too easy.
Oh, yeah, Corey did find her.
Oh, true.
Corey did find her. Can we talk about that whole rant that Isabella went off on Chip?
She
Yeah.
bothered me a little bit.
She did? Okay, because I was going to ask the white male,
Not average though.
not average, the white,
More than average.
What was the-
white male here at the desk. She goes off on him.
I've gotten a lot this week. White male, the gay one. I need to be paid double.
I want to get your perspective on what. Obviously, you found Isabella annoying, but I want to hear what you think about. Well, you are the white male here at the desk about the things that she said.
I'm afraid to say things.
Okay.
Okay, what was the quote? You have the quote somewhere, don't you?
Mediocre white men, always effing up everything and getting second chances. You are not exceptional,
You are exceptional, Chip.
but you are.
I think it was just, I get what she's saying, but personally, it triggered me a little bit because I feel like, yes, I get the privilege part for sure, but I don't see him in that way exactly. And I liked how he kind of fought back, like, what are you talking about? This is nothing, like, that has nothing to do with what's happening right now. So I liked it to kind of give it back to her, and I like her, but it annoyed me when she said that. Like, I was like, I don't know if that's fair in this situation. I think you're misusing that kind of argument.
I feel like she's been waiting to say that to a white male.
Yeah.
I feel that in a weird way, it was kind of this. It kind of was very similar to the influencer situation.
Yeah.
To Mitch,
gelato
the
spot.
gelato situation. But I think that she's been waiting to be able to say this and had this opportunity to say it. Because at first I was like, why is she flipping out? But then also, we all know that Chip has had this sort of reputation in the newsroom previously, and not everybody likes him. And maybe whatever Alex has fed to Isabella has also, fueled this sort of rant.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that, she just felt really empowered to say it. I mean, yes, I believe there were sections of what she said that are true, but I don't agree with her aiming them at Chip.
Yeah, I was very shocked when that happened. Like, wait, what? Did I miss something? But actually, now that you say that, I can totally imagine a scenario where Alex is just ranting, at her and about Chip. And so it makes sense that she would just get the secondhand, one-sided conversation and just see him and kind of unleash it all. So yeah.
Very true.
Well, I think we got all of the key points, but I just wanted to see with you guys whether or not either of you had a particular favorite moment from the show, or did we hit them all?
We probably hit it all, but you know what I wanted to say? I felt like with Daniel being so straightforward now and like suddenly kind of like more vocal, I was like, is directness his new charisma? Like, it's very strange because he's changed. He's turned a corner. I like it because he used to he would complain always to the side, but he would kind of just sheepishly do his job. And now he's like, I'm not going to take anybody's crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm going to piggyback on that because that whole scenario where it's going through the newsroom that the article is coming out that Bradley and Laura are dating, and it's literally like wildfire going on. And the stand-in weatherman, you know, says to Daniel, he was like, "Oh, is it because gay is your thing?" And Daniel just shuts that down. I wrote it down. And I was like, "No, because I find it horrible and painful to be publicly outed, and it is nobody's effing business." I was like, "Yeah, you." That was my favorite moment.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
A great moment.
Yep.
How about you, Morgan?
So mine is more of just a realization at the end of the episode. I realized that this ties back, this thought and feeling that like every character is being followed by this dark cloud and they cannot escape their past. And it just brings me back to the first episode where Paolo and Mitch are saying like, you can apologize, you'll always be remembered for this. You'll never be able to escape what you've done. And I realized that when Bradley and Laura are outed, Bradley can never escape her family, her past. Her brother literally shows up on her doorstep, like she cannot escape him. For Laura, she can't escape her sexuality. As much as she's embracing it now and proud of it, she's outed again on national TV. And it's these things that are just following these people that is kind of maybe disheartening, that like you can never truly escape certain things in your life. And so it was just that realization that kind of brought it back to episode 1, 2 of like, oh, this is a running theme in this whole show.
You said that, and you were like this cloud, but all I kept thinking is, as you're talking about each character, you know that pig pen from from the Peanuts King, and how he just has this cloud, and I'm like, oh, well, there's a cloud over, you know.
Exactly. Like every character has this thing that like they can't, and of course that's what makes good TV. Like they need something to fight against, so I get it, but yeah, it's my realization.
Well, we're at the point where we talk about predictions. I know we've already talked about a few, but is there any more that you guys want to put out on the table?
I mean, aside from I think Alex is in Italy, this isn't really a prediction, but I am still concerned about Laura being a mom surrogate for Bradley, because it's getting even more so now, because now she has to like help the baby gay out into the new world or whatever.
The baby gay. I've never heard that term. Obviously, because I'm not gay, but that's like I'm learning something new every day.
They're the new ones. Come on, let's go. We'll show you
the chicks.
Yeah. But Laura's having to take care of her, and at her age, I don't think she wants to do it. You know? And I feel like she might just end up dumping her because she's like, you know, I'm at an age like I just want a relationship. Yeah. I don't want to have to go through this. I already did it. Well,
thinking about how she ended that conversation with Bradley, how she was like, "Oh, you know, come over," and she's like, "Oh, I'll come over." She's like, that was basically she alluded that was the invitation. That invitation's been rescinded. Mm-hmm. I think you're right. I think she's not going to want to have to deal with Bradley, and Bradley has now proclaimed that she wants to be with Laura. I think you're going to be. I think you're right.
And she now has this dirt that Bradley keeps on feeding her.
Yeah.
So then that's going to come out.
Breaking vases, all this other stuff. She's drama.
Her $800 gift card. Crate and Barrel.
How about you, Morgan?
Predictions. Okay. Well, I think someone has to die.
Okay. I'm going to agree with you on that. Somebody's going to die.
It could be Bradley's brother.
Oh.
Because why else would he be here? He's an addict, maybe recovering addict, or once recovering addict. I could see a situation where this would be another blow to Bradley, but maybe something happens to him. Like, I would imagine maybe I don't know. My guess is that maybe he dies in one of the episodes. Hopefully not, but that's my thought.
I think somebody will get COVID. It's inevitable.
Probably more than one.
Definitely. Well, they're in New York, so.
And you know what? I was just thinking when you just said that. So the brother's in New York now. He's going to go back home. He could give it to the mom too. Like her whole family could get wiped out. Since she doesn't have to worry about them anymore.
Problem solved.
Done.
Well, you guys, it's true. Time flies when we're having fun, and we're out of time.
We are.
Oh, you guys, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notifications bell. And you can tweet us at HCA Critics or follow us on Instagram at Hollywood Critics Association, or do both. You guys, thank you so much for joining us here at the Morning Show After Show. I'm Kira Lynn.
I'm Morgan Rojas.
And I I am Kevin Taft.
And we will see you guys next week.